What's going on, world? Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations. I'm your host, Jason Warner, and I'm excited about this one. I'm truly excited because we talk about things that are going on in the world, but this one hits most households. This conversation is success for our scholars. And I'm blessed because, when you think about who we're going to reach out to have these conversations, it's great to have family that can help you out, right? So I want to introduce you guys to my sister from another Mister
Yeah.
Dawkins-Jackson. So uh, before I let her talk, I want to tell you a little bit about this phenomenal woman, right? So, the U.S. Department of Education, they have this fellows program, and most people only are blessed like hitting the lottery to participate in that opportunity one time. Patrice was selected to participate twice under the Obama administration, under Secretary Duncan. And I mean, she's been a school teacher, an administrator. Right now, she works in a program that helps school systems all across the country. So I couldn't think of a better person than my sister Patrice to come
Thank you.
and talk to us about what we can do for success for our scholars during COVID-19. So, Patrice, welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you. I am so glad to be here. I told Jason, outside of the fact that I have a background in education, we have two boys. And so I understand both sides of the coin and will definitely keep it real. Very candid. Very candid.
Awesome, awesome. So part of it is we wanted to come together and bring this platform because there's so many questions that people have. Should I send my child back to school? If I'm at home, how do we do this? I know I reached out to you all. I was like, all right, we have 4 children. We're trying to navigate through this, work from
Yes.
and one of our children is saying, I just don't want to do it. And I'm pretty sure that many of us has children that are challenged in this from the social emotional standpoint.
We
Um,
got one.
from I
Plus
mean,
one.
the even the kids that used to be able to go on recess, they taking it out of school a lot, but just getting off that energy.
Yeah.
So, let's start out. What types of things would you tell parents right now that
Mm-hmm.
are struggling with a child uh, work while they're working from home or trying to do remote learning? What is one thing you would tell that parent right now?
So the first thing is to give yourself grace. Like hands down, give yourself grace. Everyone is navigating so much uncertainty right now. And so we're all learning and trying to do the best that we can. So give yourself grace, give your kids grace too, because this is a steep learning curve for everybody. And I think in thinking about this, I mean, like I said plus one when Jason said, like, one who was like, I don't want to do this. We have one of those. And I have to constantly just remind myself, okay, Patrice, if he was in the classroom with his teacher, he wouldn't be responsible for every single thing. His teacher would just give him the one thing that he needed right then. Okay, so all right, so give yourself grace and realize that, and then like just try to provide kind of like mirror that same experience to make him, successful. So I like, it's a lot of grace that has to be given. So that's one. The other thing I would say is really um your involvement right now means more than ever before. So we're not physically, a lot of us are not physically in school buildings. Some people are at home, you have competing priorities. However, I'll say, and it's so important to stay very as present as you possibly can, even if it's just whatever communication system you have with the school, seesaw, texting, email, whatever you need to do to continue to stay on top of what's going on. Please do that. It's so super important. And it makes a difference because teachers, and I'm telling y'all from my own, like when I was actually in the classroom and just seeing my colleagues, the parents who stayed on it the teacher stayed on it with that student. They looked at them completely different because they knew there was somebody else that was holding them accountable. So that's super important that you stay engaged as much as possible and keep that communication, those lines of communication open with the teacher, but also with your child. So they
You know,
know that you and the teacher are on the same team.
that's that was kind of my segue into my next question to kind of to figure out, because part of this, right? If we want to be successful, and that's with anything, we have to participate in the process. We can't just say
Absolutely.
we're going to send our kids to school and they're going to figure it out, right? As parents, as guardians, as mentors, we have to engage in the process. And in so many school districts, even if they have in person or face to face learning, those volunteers, those parents that used to show up and read and different things like that, they can't even come into the building.
That's
So,
right.
as a former in classroom educator, what are some of the things that parents can do to support the teacher in the classroom, or even support the administration in the school?
I think one of the things that we're seeing is like our school here. We're in California. Our school here asked that we like send just notes, anything that we see that's going well. You know, letting teachers know that they're appreciated. There's so much that they're having to learn and do in real time and fast. So that is helpful. We have that same capability as far as volunteering and supporting school. So like they ask parents to come and read via Zoom. So they still do like, you know, reading via Zoom. There are parents who have volunteered to do like tutoring sessions. So you can still do contribute to your school community. It's just now we have to be a lot more creative about what that looks like.
You talked about showing grace and patience, and I've had some conversations with all of my children's teachers. And one of the things I started off with just thank you. I know we're in a tumultuous time, and this is so different for everyone. And because they'll start saying, "Oh, I apologize, I didn't get right back to you." Well,
Mm-hmm.
million things going on right here in Georgia. Some of the students they're dealing with students in class, and they're dealing with students at home
Simultaneous.
simultaneously, trying
Mm-hmm.
to get them from classroom to lunch to whatever those different specials or what have you. So, to that point of having grace, I think it's so important for parents, for guardians, for everyone to have patience in the process. Uh,
Yes.
you know, and another thing, I think about those seniors and juniors that are thinking about standardized tests, because you work in that from space from K-12 to baccalaureate degrees. What would you tell those young people that are like, man, I can't even go to the SAT prep test prep. I may be doing it virtual, but I'm better learning these things in,
In person.
like, my life might be over if I can't get into college now. Like, that young
Well,
person.
so one of the things I would say is, we're all this is different for everybody. And so it's like this is a period where we have to be uncomfortable and really adjust. Like even if it's not necessarily like the best way that you learn, you still have access to the resources. So for example, there's a company that I actually use for tutoring. They offer a lot of free things for students, and our boys went to them. So like Varsity Tutors, they have all these like free classes, supplement like tutoring. So if there's a place where you need some additional assistance, they actually offer some free sessions. And so that could be a way to supplement. The other thing too about our juniors and seniors that are looking into like their post secondary education, look into the requirements, because now due to COVID, a lot of universities have suspended some of the requirements that are necessary for admission into school. So check into those requirements to see like what kind of grace period do they have. Are they mandating that certain assessments have to be taken, because some of those policies have changed because we are in a pandemic.
That's awesome, because my ninth grader, she's like what in the world am I gonna do? You know, she's supposed to come out to visit y'all next summer before, you know, any transitions to hang out at Stanford University, because she says she's going to Stanford undergrad, Stanford Law, and gonna be
Okay, tell her come on.
first Black woman Supreme Court justice. So
Okay, I love
part of
it.
that, she was stressing out. I'm like, baby girl, it's gonna be okay. Like,
It is.
experiencing so much change, turmoil, discomfort. We will get through this. We'll be okay. But I would like to tell folks, you know, we have to stay diligent and be okay with being uncomfortable. Just Friday, we had 99,000 plus new cases of COVID in the United States.
Wow.
99,000 plus cases of COVID. The UK just yesterday is talking about closing down the United Kingdom for a month.
Yep.
You know, we have to kind of get around this, and we have to, again, be comfortable with being uncomfortable, like you said. So Patrice, you know, you've done it all. You've done the gambit from the classroom to
All over.
putting together programs. What types of things would you tell our educators, right?
Mhm.
They can think about doing to kind of help ease their frustration, but also do the best job that they can do.
One of the things I would say is definitely leveraging the ability to collaborate now. So think about it. Technology is giving us greater access to like everyone, like and everything. And so this is a ripe opportunity to be able to connect to people. And if there are places where you have deficits in your teaching, or like, I don't understand this tool, or I need to figure out a way to create more interactive lessons or a higher sense of engagement, higher level of engagement virtually, there are so many ways to get information now. There's so many ways that people are connecting. I've been a part of Facebook groups that some of my colleagues have started, where they created Facebook groups about like, here's how you can walk through using this tool. Here's how you could teach this lesson. Teachers are uploading their lesson plans that they've done in virtual learning to be able to share with other people. So there is access to lots of resources. Now, I am not going to ignore the fact that all of this takes time. So I'm not, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, you should just go and do all this stuff. I know it takes time, because I know when I was a teacher, took me hours upon hours to do lesson plans. I think it's like now thinking about how to work smarter, not harder. And the key to that is collaboration, and really thinking about how can you streamline some of the processes that you have to put in place in order to do this. So for example, if I'm on a team, and one of the things I can say, our son's school, their team is so amazing, because like they're doing their planning as teams. They're like, people switch up and take certain subject areas and help other people understand what to do, so everybody is not like working trying to do so much, like all everything. It's like really thinking about how can we collaborate to make sure that we are providing the best educational experience that we can for our students within this context. So I think, like, that's those two things are key, like collaboration and leveraging technology. There's so much that we can do now, and that you have access to so many more people than we might have had before.
I mean, technology is allowing us to do this on,
That's right.
right.
Two
You
different
know,
coats.
I can be, you know, the new CNN anchor on Facebook Live right
There
now
you go. Right.
to you about strategies for success for our young people. And, you know, one of the things that we realize, this is COVID and the impact that it has on not only our young people in schools, but our family. It doesn't, it's not a respecter of race, of gender, of socioeconomic stance.
Right.
But when we think about those that are less fortunate, those that can't work from home, those
Mm-hmm.
they were struggling even before COVID, right? You know, one of the things I like to talk about is things that we can do as a community to support one another.
Yeah.
things I would tell folks right now in this time, if you know folks that don't have Wi-Fi and you are working from home, if you do some quarantine type of checks, make sure temperatures are good, but offer to have some kids at your house, to be able to support that learning. If one of a husband or a wife is fortunate enough to be a stay-at-home parent, maybe you can help in that neighborhood with learning in that learning hour, because our young people, they need the support and they need people to kind of look over when they're in the classroom. They have a teacher telling them to look at here and do that. As
Pay
parents,
attention. Yep.
we don't know the lesson plans, but I think it would be support or helpful if we had one person in those communities to reach out to the teacher and say, hey, we're supporting, we want to follow along with the lesson plans and be your support group. So it's those little things that we can do as a community to support the least of these, but to make sure that we all navigate through this time.
Yeah.
The point of being patient with the students, everyone across the world is looking at this, right? So everyone may have some hindrance with test taking. Everyone may have some hindrance with how they adapt to this situation, but everyone is having the same issues.
Yeah.
College entrance folks, they're trying to figure out better ways to get people in. So I would say, to your point, have grace. Have grace.
Lots of grace. And I mean, there's so many other things. For example, Comcast has a lot, and which a lot of people didn't know this, but I would tell parents this when they would come and meet when I was at AP. I'm like, you know that Comcast has a program where the internet is like really super inexpensive, and they do it based on need. So like, but people didn't know about that program, and it is offered nationwide. So like Comcast has programs. There are other places where literally they are bringing buses that have all the routers in them, and they're parking them in different neighborhoods so kids can have access to the internet and not have their parents don't have the burden of having to pay for it. And so a lot of these resources are available, but we have to find them and understand how to navigate systems to get to them. So one of the things I would suggest, if you are in need of resources, contact your school district. The school districts actually have a lot of different resources that are untapped because of how they are communicated, how they're promoted. But contact your school system and say, like, this is what our needs are. Believe me, there are so many resources that they have, but they are untapped because people don't know about them.
So that is a great segue. We're 2 days away from election time, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Everyone talks about voting and voting and voting. I heard my former classmate Andrew Gillum talk on Bakari Sellers' talk show podcast, and he said that's just the foot in the door, right?
That's right.
That's just the foot in the door. So to your point, you have to participate in the process. Reach out to your school board, your school district, and find out the resources that are there, because what's voting if you don't participate, right? If you don't participate locally and you don't engage in ask for the resources that are already there, they're just thinking that you don't want them, right?
That is so true. That is so true. I can't tell you how many times, parents will say, they need an XYZ. And I was like, have you ever reached out to our social worker? And they had never contacted a social worker. And I want to say this, like, and it's so important. There is no shame in getting the help that you need to ensure your child's success. I'm telling you this because
say that one more time. So
there is no shame in you seeking out the resources that you need to ensure your child's success. And I say that because I have watched people purchase. People have gone to great lengths to ensure that their children have gotten every single accommodation that they need. If that means private testing, if that means like coming to the school to advocate for their child for what they want for their child, Guess what? And this is candid conversations. They don't look like us. And I'm telling you, I have been at a table. I just told this story the other day because our son is in the process of being evaluated right now. And I said, I sat at a table with a parent whose child was struggling. This child was performing, had been pushed through to at this time first grade, but was really performing like on a pre-K level. And we have all this data, and I'm independent, have done the assessments for them, coming in to explain to these parents, this is what I saw. I'm telling you from my years of experience, this, and they're like, no. And it was because they didn't want the stigma. Listen, people that don't look like us don't care about the stigma. You know what they care about? That their child is getting every single accommodation that is going to ensure that they are successful. They could care less about a label. They could care less about what somebody will think, because at the end of the day, it is about whatever it takes to ensure that their child is successful. So I would love, I'm as candid as possible. There is no shame in seeking the resources that you need to ensure your child's success, because there are people who do it every day and are willing to do whatever it takes, including money, to be able to pay somebody privately to assess their children to ensure that they get that.
And that's so big. So you can reach out to your school board, you can reach out to your city government, your county government, because most of these municipalities receive CARES funding, right? And they have to spend it. Most of them have to spend it by the end of this year, right?
Yep.
So they have a little over 60 days to spend millions of dollars, and they're just trying to figure out ways to support the community. But you have to do your part and ask. So when you do your part on Tuesday and vote, on Wednesday, go ask for the things that you need, right? Go to the school district's website and find out what resources are there for your young people. What resources are there for you, because to support your young people in this process.
Yep.
Don't be afraid, like Patrice just said. Don't be afraid to reach out to your students, your children's teacher, to say, hey, can my child retake this? Can my child, what tutoring sessions or different things, because it's a challenge. The districts know these things, and most teachers, if you reach out, they'll let your child retake an assignment that they did poorly on, because they know that they don't have the same engagement they would when they're in the classroom.
Yep.
You have to take that first step to ensure the success of your child. And it's hard, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm like, our son, like, is, oh, Jesus. My gangster is tested daily because I'm at home with him and he's working. But like, I had to think about, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to ensure his success? This is not working. Okay, so let's talk to the teacher and figure out a system that can work. He needs some interventions. All right. So then, like, what does that look like? But guess what? If I hadn't sent the email that said, you know what, I'm here with our son, and I see that he's struggling with this, and I believe that you're a school community that's not going to let students fall through the cracks, what can be done? I had a meeting on the calendar the next day.
Right.
The next day. And so it's all about being proactive and just asking for what you need for your child. And for yourself too, because like what I said about the social workers, like social workers have access to resources that are for the family, because if the family's basic needs are not met, it's really difficult to think about like how you child in school. So they have even resources for your family, but you have to like let go of the stigma, put the pride down. You have to do whatever it takes to ensure the success for your children.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of those things means, if that means reaching out to your friends and neighbors for support, those are the things that will help you to succeed and help your community succeed. So, Patrice, I think we gave them a lot of great nuggets in this 25 minutes that we've been on. What's I guess your parting word, your piece that would say, hey, once we get through this, and even if things don't go back to what we thought they would be,
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell first to young people that are in the classrooms trying to navigate through this, and then finally to our parents and our young people, parents, and our educators?
Yes. Okay. So to young people, your education is something that once you get it, no one can take it away from you. You can lose everything, but you cannot lose what's up here. So you have this is yours. You have to like go for it no matter what. Even though it's difficult, it's different. It's the one thing that no one can take away. No one can take away the knowledge that you have. So that's for students. For parents, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And I know that it's hard. Trust me, I be stressed out. Stressed out trying to work full-time, remote, run a business, and do virtual school with 2 kids. I get it. Trust and believe I get it. But whatever it takes in order for your child or children to be successful, you got to do it. You got to do it. Put the pride aside, ask for what you need. And then for our teachers, I want to first say thank you because I'm forever a teacher. I am forever a teacher, no matter where I have gone in the system. I am still forever a teacher. So I want to say thank you to all our teachers. You all are like heroes, and you're managing a lot of change, and sometimes in a system that does not support that. So I just want to encourage you to continue to persevere, continue to go back to your why you have decided to go into this field and impact the lives of our young people, our future, and then also encourage you to collaborate and think about working smarter, not harder. How can you collaborate? How can you leverage technology in order to be able to have the most effective educational experience for our students?
Man, that was awesome. Patrice, I just want to truly thank you for taking the time. We're different coasts.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
7:30 over here, 4:30 over there for you. But I think our parents needed to hear this. And if they talk to their students, they're going to need to hear this. Our teachers, to quote our Florida boy Plies, double salute to the teachers. It's one of those things that we don't say enough. The teaching profession is a thankless job, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And one thing I will tell parents, I'm a parent of 4. Have patience with your children. You're going to want to choke them out, but they're dealing with things, especially from a social, emotional standpoint, that imagine. We've never had to deal with something like this, where you can't see your friends, where you miss graduations, all the things that you're looking forward to as a child, right? We think that they are kind of, they'll get over it. But
no, this is tough.
Sometimes they need to just have someone to talk to, and they may not want to talk to you, right? But have patience through the process. When you want to blow your lid, because I think all of us do in this time, is like, oh, you can do better. You just want to shake them up. Pause, take a breath, take a walk, come back in love, right? Come back in the love that you would want that teacher or that paraprofessional in the class to show to your child, right?
Yep.
And we're going to get through this together. We're going to thrive through this together. But I knew after talking to you, Patrice, and my brother Kirk the other day, because I was pulling my hair out. I was pulling my hair out, trying to figure this out, right?
Yeah.
And I want to share the tip that you told me about middle school boys.
Yes, and there's one other thing outside of that I want to share too. That's really important.
Give the world the tip that you told me about middle school boys, and I just want you guys, when you hear this, to think about how that's even exacerbated during COVID.
During COVID. Okay, so I was a assistant principal in middle school, so I got to know middle schoolers in a very intimate way. Very, very intimate way. So one of the things I want to share, especially with middle school parents, right now, developmentally, what matters the most to them is their peer group, their friends. Like that's like king right now. However, it's really important. It's important to understand how that impacts social emotional behavior, but also academics. Because I would see kids, and I had the privilege of working in the same learning community where I taught kids. I taught kids in kindergarten, elementary, saw them all through elementary school, stellar students, gifted, straight A's. Then I get to middle school as an assistant principal, and they're like, wow. I'm like, who's that kid? Like, I don't even know him anymore. And so it's really important to understand that also because of also values that we put, cultural values that we have and norms that, a lot of our African American, especially African American males and females, and when they get to middle school, students of color, it's not cool to be smart. It's not something that's celebrated. It's not like in a way that other things are celebrated. And right now, these kids are wanting acceptance. They want that's what they're looking for in that peer group. And so sometimes it does impact their academics. Sometimes it does impact their behavior. You see, like, these kids are like amazing. Then you're like, middle school, they kind of go crazy. It's because of like where they are developmentally. They're trying to figure things out. Their peers mean a lot. They're looking for acceptance. They're trying to really understand their identity in that time frame. And so you may see some changes in your child. What I want to tell you is, do not give up and talk to your children. Let me tell you, I would have kids come into my office and they have done the most craziest, ridiculous things. And as I'm talking to them, they knew my office was a no judgment zone, so they could cuss and say whatever they knew. But I was like, whatever it takes for me to hear you and for you to also hear me. And I could always tell the child that even though they did something, they would say, my mom told me like such and such and such and such. Or my dad really tried to get me to stay away from. It was there. It was there. They heard you. And so when I would talk to those same parents, when I had to tell them like about, whatever the consequence was or what happened in school today, I will always tell them, keep talking to your kids. Keep that dialogue open. Keep talking to your kids. It's okay. I mean, I know, I understand, like, you're going to have boundaries, respect or whatever, but if they don't feel comfortable talking to you, ask them, who do you want to talk to? Who do you feel safe to talk to? So they could have that outlet and understand that, whoever that person is, we have like a boundary, because I have that with my niece. And I say, I'll tell her, if it's something I feel that's going to be harmful to you, then the agreement is that I'm going to tell your parents. I'll talk to your parent about it. But she knows that with me, it's a judgment-free zone. She can say whatever she wants to. It's no problem. And so it's important to continue to talk to your children. Do not give up. They hear you. And you may feel like they don't hear you, but they hear you. I trust and believe. And I've dealt with the worst, I tell you, but they hear you in those moments. It comes back to them. The second thing I wanted to share is for any of our parents or families that have students with exceptionalities. And that ranges. I mean, from autism, speech, whatever it is. Ensure that your school system has something in place to still continue to meet those students' needs. It's important. Just because we're in a pandemic and what school looks like is different, there are still things in place to ensure that your students get the services that they need. And if they're not, there's ways to go about making sure that they're getting the services that they need. The other side of that is, like, every year, IEPs, 504 plans, they always come up for review. They have a timetable of when those have to be reviewed again. Please do not just sign something that just comes home. Don't do it. As a parent, you have a right to a review meeting, and they can do that virtually. And so ensure, if you feel comfortable after reading it, you feel comfortable signing, you don't have any questions, that's great. Go ahead. But if there is anything that you're questioning, please don't just sign something that comes home. If your child has any special needs or services that they receive, and they're, if you need that meeting, ask for that review meeting, so you can make sure that you understand what your student is receiving to ensure that they have the quality education that they're supposed to have. It's their educational right. It is your right as a parent. So make sure that you exercise those rights.
Well, again, Patrice, we truly thank you.
Thank you for having me.
This has been amazing. To the one institution, to my Facebook family, to everyone out there. These are just nuggets to help you, to help us. I actually really did this for me, guys. And when I talked to Patrice the other day, I said, you know what? I think the world needs to hear this, and we can work together. But the point that I want to hammer home, Tuesday is just the start.
Yeah.
Even as of tomorrow, if you need support, reach out to your local school district, to your city government, to your county commission, to your state government. Participate in the process. We don't get left behind because, someone just voted or someone didn't vote. We get left behind because we don't participate in the process. And that's in everything, especially right now in our children's school life. So don't let your child get left behind, and you don't get left behind because you failed to participate or to read that paper that came home. Yes, we have a lot of things to do. Read the emails, pick up the phone, check on the website from the school district. Even if you say, you know what, every Monday, I'm just going to go to the school website and to see what's new, or the school system website to see what's new.
Yeah.
That will help you navigate the system, and we can move the needle. When we talk about candid conversations, I'm a big stickler on solutions, and I'm very solutions oriented. We can't just pontificate and talk and talk and talk. We have to move with action. Patrice gave us some amazing nuggets, and I thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And I'm Jason Warner. This has been Candid Conversations. Good night. Love you.
Good night. Thank you.